In this video, we're going to listen to the tale of the princess and the monster. This story was created by Dr. Stephen Davies at UMW to illustrate the ideas behind writing Python functions. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a princess lived in a beautiful castle. Someone was always available to perform any action the princess desired, or should I say, something was always available. One fine day, a knight rode up to the castle on his trusty steed. He said, "Fair princess, my horse and I have been traveling with great haste. May we enter your castle and obtain food and water?" The princess considered the request, but was wary. She'd heard tales of many princesses who were tricked by seemingly innocent visitors. She determined that she must know whether the knight was telling the truth about traveling with great speed. However, she sadly had no mathematical skills to employ to determine the truth of the knight's claim. Thankfully, she knew of a magical source that could be used in exactly this situation. Before invoking the magic, she needed to do some fact-finding. The princess got out her royal clipboard. The princess asked, "Sir Knight, how many miles have you ridden?" And the knight responded, "I have ridden 60 miles, fair maiden." The princess wrote down, "Distance equals 60. Next, she asked, "Sir Knight, how many hours have you traveled?" The knight responded, "I have traveled 5 hours, your highness." The princess wrote down, "Time equals 5. After the final flourish of her pen, the princess ran into the castle and up the long winding staircase of the tallest tower. There stood a magical monster room. In the monster room lived a mysterious creature. The princess knew little about the creature. Honestly, the princess didn't know much about what went on inside the monster room at all, but she knew how to get results. The princess did know that the outside wall to the room had a sign hanging above it. The sign was engraved with the words, "Average speed." The outside wall itself contained no door or windows, only 2 slots. The princess knew just what to do. She consulted her royal clipboard for the distance traveled by the knight and copied the value 60 onto a slip of paper. She confidently slid this paper through slot number 1. Then she took a second slip of paper and copied the time value of 5 and slid this paper through slot number 2. After popping these pieces of information into the slots at the right-hand side of the room, she ran as fast as her legs could carry her around to the left-hand side of the room to wait for what she knew would happen next. While the princess waited, the 2 slips of paper traveled through the wall of the creature's room, and in doing so triggered an incredibly bright light bulb which woke the beast. He yawned and stretched. He immediately got out his own clipboard and searched for the 2 slips of paper. He found the paper in slot number 1 and read the value. On his clipboard, he wrote down value 1 equals 60. Then he retrieved the slip of paper in slot number 2 and read the value. On his clipboard, he wrote value 2 equals 5. Once he'd finished creating these records, he leapt into frenzied action, and on his calculator, he carried out an algorithm by typing in 60 divided by 5 equals. The calculator responded with the value of 12, and the monster recorded this on his clipboard as average speed equals 12. Then he wrote the number 12 on a slip of paper and popped it out of the slot on the left-hand side of the room. To the beast's delight, every time he completes this process, a roasted chicken drops into his chamber and he gobbles it all up, bones and all. And he gets so excited that he eats the paper with the numbers that he'd recorded during the algorithm. And then the light goes out. As he's completely satisfied to have performed his task and received his reward, he falls asleep until the next time that his services are required. As the slip of paper exited the slot on the left-hand side of the monster's room, the princess was there to catch it. She transferred the result to her own royal clipboard, writing down speed equals 12. Having her answer, she ran back down the stairs where the knight was waiting for her return. At the bottom of the stairs, she said, "Sir Knight, I know that you have traveled at an average speed of 12 miles an hour." And with this, our tale ends. Whether the princess deemed this an adequate speed to deserve a place at her dinner table, we'll never know. It's actually completely irrelevant. The end.